Hi all, an amazing game caught my attention from the Gibraltar Congress. So this was in round 8. Abhijeet Gupta, who's a very dangerous, high-rated Indian Grandmaster, was playing against Vassily Ivanchuk. D4, Ivanchuk plays E6. C4, knight f6, knight f3, queen's Indian territory. A3, bishop e7, knight c3, d5. C takes, E takes. You might have thought, but actually knight takes d5 was played. So this keeps the bishop open, and it gets a sort of Grunfeld style position after queen c2. Black takes on c3, and white does construct now the centre with e4, and we have bishop d3 now. c5, so it looks like a Grunfeld without a fianchetto. It looks as though white's centre is under pressure, and this next move by Vassily Ivanchuk seems extremely logical, to both threaten to take off queens or bishop a6 to get rid of this dangerous, potentially dangerous attacking piece. We have queen e2 here, bishop a6, rook d1, the bishops come off, rook takes d3, knight d7. Still white gets that wedge pawn in the centre. Is it harmless though? With the attacking bishop gone, you might think it's quite harmless here. C takes, rook e8. Still, white plays an attacking looking move h4. It does support the g5 square, adds support for that. Queen b7, bishop g5, the bishop drops back. Now knight d2. Here now there's a slight weakening move played in this position, f6. White does take on f6, knight takes, and now white gives up that bishop. After knight e4, queen f7. Has white got anything here? Has white got a dangerous attack of some sort? We have the move rook f3 being played. Now black plays here f5, and we have check, Kh8, knight g5, queen d7, and the very direct attacking move now, queen h5, which threatens knight f7 check. So that's parried, and now rook e1. So here it's very dangerous for black. Queen e8 is played. As an example, I just want to give you a token move to show the threat. Rook takes e6, just trying to get knight f7 in, is still on here. That would be winning the queen. h4 is also useful, by the way, for the back row for king h2. So black tries to parry the e6 threat and keep hold of the f7 sensitive square. Queen f3, and again, if we just give a token move, I want to show you that rook takes e6 is now on the cards because of queen takes a8. So this is possible for white because of queen takes a8 if queen takes. So after queen f3, black plays rook d8. So are these just cheap tactical one move threats, or is there something else deeper going on in this position? Funny enough, yeah, there are some dangers for black. White plays a kind of liberating pawn move, d5. And this is really dangerous for black. Ivanchuk chose rook takes d5 in the game. On e takes d5, this is very good, simply taking there, and then queen takes f5 for knight f7 check. And for example here there's a killer move in the form of rook e3. Yeah, this gets really nasty, as if, say, queen g7, I believe rook e8 is very strong. It just gets really nasty, this position, very quickly. So it seems very difficult for black to play that, if not totally losing. So rook takes d5 was played. Now here there's a very interesting move played in this position. I wonder if you can guess it if I give you 5 seconds to pause the video starting from now. Very interesting tactical sequence is uncorked here, which actually attracted me to the game. Okay, knight takes e6. After rook takes e6, there's two very interesting tactical possibilities, but one of them is so convincing compared to the other. I wonder if you'll like an analytical exercise. You might want to pause the video. I'll give you 5 seconds now to pause the video, and you might want to analyze. Come back to this. This is there's a crunch tactic here. So 5 seconds starting from now. White to play. Okay. Now, not queen c3 check. Queen c3 check looks really dangerous, but black can actually guard in the most accurate fashion with this one, because after f4 check, this position actually isn't entirely clear. Even though white's the exchange up, it's not entirely clear. Technically, it's an even position. So the other way, by the way, is rook g8 check. Now, I mean, that's the main thing I wanted to show you, but just before we get into that, with queen c3 check again, this other way, they're simply taking an f4, and white's doing very well there. But because of this other possibility of rook e5, yeah, queen c3 isn't that deadly technically, but nevertheless we have this stunning rook g8 check, absolute stunner of a tactic, and it does relate to recent emphasis on pins having both short and long-term downsides. Getting out of the pin is sometimes very, very tricky. So king takes is absolutely forced. Queen takes d5. We have two sorts of pins, one a relative pin and one an absolute. But here, Ivanchuk plays a very desperate move and loses very quickly. Let's see what he played. Queen b5. And white is under no obligation to take on b5, because then check is the idea. And maybe black can live on for a bit. White actually just took on e6 and played rook d1, and here, faced with rook d7 check, it's absolutely crushing this position, and Ivanchuk had to resign. But if we look here, you might be asking a key question about this pin. This is why pins are so absolutely lethal, both short term and long term. Because even with king f7, do you know, this is absolutely winning for white, even with king f7. Because of queen takes f5 check. And now, after rook f6, simply this is good, queen takes, to take on e8. But even stronger, much, much stronger actually, is not being in such a rush to cash out, is queen takes h7 check. Because now if bishop g7 rather, we take on e8 and take on g7. But there's even stronger here in the form of queen h5 check. So going to win the queen for nothing if the king moves. And if here, then rook takes e8, and yeah, there's another pin. It's absolutely lethal stuff. And this is what really caught my attention, this tactic of this game. Yeah, if we just go back to just look at this tactic in all. So congratulations to Abhijeet Gupta, so for this wonderful tactical combination. It's impressive. It gets a Kingscrusher award for the Gibraltar tournament for great tactic sequence. Okay, hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Comments, questions, likes, shares appreciated. Thanks very much.